This is the all-new Real Sim Gear simulator for the Cirrus SR and SF platforms. We built this simulator with one goal in mind: to grow with you as you grow, no matter what stage you're in. If you follow the typical journey of training in the G6, advancing to the G7, and ultimately evolving into the SF50, this interchangeable platform allows you to upgrade your sim as you upgrade your plane. So in this video, we're going to show you exactly what it takes to take your simulator out of the crate, perform the simple assembly, and set the software up to get you flying your sim as fast and as easy as possible. Enjoy. To uncrate and set up your simulator, you'll need a drill with a number 2 Phillips head or a screwdriver, but it will take a little bit longer, an Allen key that's provided in the accessories box, which is located in the crate. We also recommend an optional dolly or furniture sliders to make moving the simulator a little bit easier. And most importantly, 2 people to safely handle and move the simulator components. This system is heavy and requires teamwork to avoid injury or damage. Always use the designated handles, use your legs, and take your time during this process. Let's do it.
So let's begin uncrating the simulator. Use your drill to remove all of the Phillips head screws from every seam of the crate, starting with the top. After the top is removed, you can begin removing the sides of the crate in any order. It does help to have your friend hold onto the crate walls to prevent them from falling over. Once you remove the crate walls, you can remove the accessory box and begin pulling the items out and laying them out for easy access. If you need to move this box through doorways or up or down stairs, you'll at least want to open it up to grab the provided Allen key, as we'll need it for the next step. Around the simulator, there will be several brackets holding the sim in place. You'll need to remove all of these using that Allen key. After the mounts are all removed, go ahead and untie the 2 straps on each side of the sim and remove them entirely. Once you have all the straps and brackets removed from the sim, from here you have a couple of options. If you need to carry the simulator through doorways or up or down stairs, you can take off the top, or what's called the console, of the simulator in order to make transporting a lot easier. Additionally, if you need to make moving the seat platform a little easier, the throttle pedestal is just held down by 4 screws, and you can remove those and then reinstall them later. Otherwise, if you're only moving it a short distance from the crate, grab your strongest friend and lift it off of the crate and place it in its final destination. But just make sure you leave some room in the back to access the cables. Once the simulator is in place, you'll need to put together the monitor mounting brackets so you can install it onto the electric monitor mount. This is what the monitor attaches to. And like before, the brackets are in the accessories box, and you'll need the Allen key to put them together. Once you have the mounting bracket assembled, go ahead and attach it to the motorized mount. This also requires that same Allen key. Now that we have that assembled, we need to install the mounting brackets onto the TV or the monitor itself. So locate the brackets inside the accessories box and install them on the back of the monitor. You can have a friend hold the monitor while you do this, or if you're doing it on the floor, be careful not to put too much pressure on the monitor. Next, whether you've removed the console or not, the next step is you'll need to place the monitor with the now installed brackets onto the monitor attached to the base of the simulator. Use the remote that came in the accessories box to raise the monitor out of the way of the console. Then you'll want to carefully lift the monitor or TV and place it onto the monitor mount you just installed. Once hooked onto the mount, go ahead and hand twist the screws upward on the back of the system to secure the monitor or TV. Leave some room like shown here so we can slide the monitor over to easily plug in the cables. Once the monitor isn't going anywhere, go ahead and slide it over so you can access the power cable and the HDMI cable. Once you plug those in, slide the monitor back to center and finish twisting the screws underneath to hand tight. After that, if you have removed the console, go ahead and place it back on top of the base. Again, make sure you're careful with lifting the system, as well as take care when placing the console back on top of the base. Be sure you align the console with the threaded holes on the base when setting it down, and then reinsert the thumb screws and tighten them down. Lastly, be sure both thumb screws are catching the threads prior to fully tightening any one side. Next, let's put the instructor station onto the monitor arm located on the right side of the console. Start with attaching the keyboard tray and mounting bracket onto the instructor station's monitor. It's pretty straightforward with just 4 screws to install. With that, we can now place the instructor monitor onto the monitor arm. Start with removing the thumb screw from the end of the arm, then slip the instructor station bracket over it, like shown here, and reinsert the thumb screw. Once secure, there will be cables wrapped up and extending from the base that go to the instructor station. So let's plug these in. You'll need to plug in the power, the HDMI, and the USB cable. Now for the keyboard. Go ahead and open the box and grab the small USB transmitter called a dongle and plug it into one of the USB ports on the base. After that, you'll need to remove the plastic battery cover to activate it, turn the power on, and place it on the keyboard tray. Next, we need to attach the seat to the rest of the platform. For that, we'll need to install these corner brackets from the accessory box onto the seat's platform so we can connect the two platforms together. And like before, you'll just use that Allen key set. Once you attach the corner brackets on each side, it's time to slide the seat underneath the base. Start by getting the seat close to the other platform. It helps to align the middle of the seat to the middle of the rudder pedals. Make sure you have one person on each side to lift the console up, and it even helps to have a third person help push the seat toward the console. But ensure you lift with the proper handles and tilt the platform just high enough to slide the seat's platform underneath the base. As long as you push them flush against each other, it's designed to connect easily. Hopefully you've aligned the holes for the corner brackets absolutely perfectly, but most likely you may need to slide it side to side to get them aligned. Then go ahead and install the screws and tighten with the Allen key on both sides. After the platforms are connected, it's time to plug in the cables to the throttle console. If you've removed the throttle console, now's the time to reinstall it. Underneath the console, there are some wrapped up cables extending down from the base. Go ahead and unwrap them so you can plug the power cable and the USB cable into the back of the throttle pedestal. Next, let's go to the back of the console so we can plug everything in. The cables hanging out of the back will be labeled, so it's rather straightforward to plug everything into their corresponding ports. You'll need to plug in the USB cable, the instructor station's HDMI, the TV monitor cable or cables, depending on how many monitors you have, the network cable or adapter, and then finally the power cable. Once you do that, go ahead and turn on the system. Then on the back right of the console, there will be a couple of cables extending out from the base that go to the back of the yoke, a USB cable and a power cable. Once you plug in the power to the yoke, you'll see the yoke begin to calibrate. Once that's all said and done, you can lower the monitor to an acceptable height and you can start getting ready to fly. If you have an iPad and purchased the iPad mount, go ahead and install it now. There's a USB port on both sides of the console so you can charge your iPad. There's also a headset holder on this side, as well as a little space for your coffee. And at this point, we recommend placing the monitor remote back in its bracket so it doesn't get lost. And finally, it's time for you to hop into your new home simulator and get ready for your first flight. So here's how we do that. On the instructor station, double-click on the X-plane icon. This will bring up this menu where you need to choose which aircraft you're going to fly. So type in the corresponding numbers with your chosen aircraft and hit enter. This will begin loading up X-plane and it may take a few minutes. Once loaded, you'll see this screen and all you ever really need to hit here is a new flight. And so here's the main menu and there are 4 main sections to this new flight menu: the aircraft, the airport, the weather, and the time, as well as the start flight button. In each menu, there's a customize button that allows you to further change the settings to your liking, and I'm going to cover those right now. In the aircraft menu, after choosing the aircraft you want to fly, click on Customize, and we recommend unchecking the Start with Engines running box. That way you can start from cold. Then in the Locations tab, you can click in this search bar here to type in your desired airport identifier. This will usually have you starting on the runway, and so if you wish to start on the ramp or in the air, click on the Customize button and you can zoom in on this menu to click on exactly where you want the airplane to load up. And if you want to start in the air, you can come over here and select a 3 or 10 nautical mile final approach. Next is the weather tab. You have this slider that will show you its default settings, but besides its default settings, you can go to the Customize menu and add custom cloud layers, wind layers, change the wind, the precipitation, and so on. If you want to emulate the real-time weather, outside on the bottom here, you can choose that. Finally, time is pretty straightforward. You just move the slider to select your desired time, but I can show you how to change this once we've loaded in. Once that's all good to go, click on Start Flight and it'll only take a couple of minutes to load in. Now that we're here, you can turn off the parking brake, turn on the airplane, take off, and start flying. But to further customize the environment while in the sim, you need to use the instructor station. So on the instructor station, there are all these menus and tabs on the left and right side, the map in the center, and you can pull up the profile view of your approach on the bottom by checking this box on the lower right. Now, what's probably most important to you is having the ability to move the aircraft around to be able to repeat approach after approach. So to do that, simply click on the little airplane icon on the map. This brings up this menu and it allows you to click and drag yourself around to any location. We recommend increasing altitude first so you don't drag yourself into crashing into terrain. And so you can do that here. You can change your heading, your altitude, your speed, and your pitch from this menu. Meaning you can easily place yourself, let's say 10 miles away from an initial approach fix to get ready to shoot an approach. Then on the left menu, you can change the time easily here. You can adjust the weather, and if you do end up changing anything on this weather tab, you have to click this change weather button on the bottom. Additionally, you or your instructor can activate failures from this tab here, so engine failures, system failures, magneto failures, and so on. And lastly, you can also add fuel if you keep scrolling down towards the bottom of this menu. And so this gives you a lot more control while you are in the simulator. But anyway, that is the end of this setup guide. If you have any questions or you need our help, you can email us at info@realsimgear.com. So congrats on your new home sim and happy flying.